So good morning everyone. Good morning ma'am. So in this video, we're going to justify the answer that we're seeing on the screen. Going to teach you how to get the mean, median, mode, mean or minimum, max or maximum, K or the number of classes, C or the class width, the lower limit and the upper limit of the data. So first of all, we're going to find the mean. So that is the formula of the mean. But how do we get the mean? To get the mean, we need to add all 50 values since we have 50 values in our data and divided by the number of observation. So let's try the SDG or the systolic blood pressure. 6,706 divided by 50 is equal to 134.12. So meaning our mean is 100 our mean in SDG is 134.12. So that's how we get the mean. We're going to do the same to the others. The DBP, which is the diastolic blood pressure, is 91.72. The FBG, which is the fasting blood glucose, is 116.04 milligram per deciliter. Then the LDL, which is the low density lipoprotein, is 136.98 milligram per deciliter. And the last, HDL, which is the high density lipoprotein, is 45.10 milligrams per deciliter. Now let's proceed to the median. Finding the median is easy. You just have to find the middle. But since the value on our data set is 50, and 50 is an even number, so what are we going to do is we're going to find the two middle number. So the two middle number in our data set is the 25th value and the 26th value, and we're going to divide it by 2. So let's try in the SDP. So the 25th and the 26th is 139. So 139 plus 139 divided by 2 is equal to 139. That's why the median in our SDP is 139. We're going to do the same to the DBP, which is 89. FBG is 119 milligrams per deciliter. LDL is 145.5 milligrams per deciliter. And HDL is 42.5 milligrams per deciliter. Now let's proceed to the mode. So the mode is the value that appears most often. So in SDP, since four modes appeared, which is the 135, 139, 153, and 159, they all appeared twice. In BDP, we have 85 and 89. In FBG, we have 118 only. In LDL, we have 161 and 170. And lastly, in the HDL, we have 52. So that's how we get the mode. Now we're going to proceed to the minimum and maximum. This is one of the most easiest part in our data set. So the minimum or the mean, MIN, is the lowest number in the data, while the maximum, max, is the largest. So meaning, we're just going to find the smallest or the lowest number in our data set for our minimum and the largest number of our data set in the maximum. Now let's proceed to our range. So how do we get the range? To get the range, you need to subtract the maximum to minimum. So in SDP, the maximum is 160 and the minimum is 80. So 160 subtracted by 80 is equal to 80. So we're just going to do the same to the rest. And we're going to get 39 to DBP, 73 to FBG, 98 to LDL, and 54 to HDL. Now let's proceed to the K or the number of class. It was determined using Sturge's formula, which is the K is equal to 1 plus 3.322 log n. So the value of Rn is 50. First, we're going to substitute the value of Rn. So it's going to be K is equal to 1 plus 3.322 log 50. Then we're going to find the value of log 50, which gives us 1.699. Then we're going to multiply it to the 3.322, which gives us 5.644. Then we're going to add 1, which gives us 6.644. We're going to round that up and that will give us 7. So the SDP is equal to 7. But why is it 8 classes? Is it 8 classes to make the class intervals more convenient? Now let's proceed to C, or the class width. So the formula is C is equal to range over K. So we're going to try in the SDP. So the range in our SDP is 80 and the K in our SDP is 8. So 80 over 8 is equal to 10. So the C, or the class width of our SDP is 10. We're going to do the same to the others. So DBP is equal to 5, FBG is equal to 10, LDL is equal to 13, and HDL is equal to 7. Now we're going to proceed to the last part of our video, which is the first lower limit and the upper limit. So we're going to try the SDP. To get the first lower limit, we need to start with the smallest SDP value in the dataset, which is the 80. So our first lower limit is 80. For our second lower limit, we're going to add a class width, which is 10, to the previous lower limit, which is 80. So 80 plus 10 is equal to 90. Therefore, the second lower limit is 90. So the first lower limit of the SDP is 80 and the second lower limit of the SDP is 90. Now we're going to get the upper limit of the SDP. So to get the upper limit of the SDP, we're going to use a formula. So upper limit is equal to lower limit plus the class width minus 1. So 80 plus 10 minus 1 is equal to 89. Therefore, the first upper limit is 89. So now we're going to get the second upper limit. We're going to use the same formula. So the second lower limit, which is 90, plus the class width, which is 10 minus 1, is equal to 99. Therefore, the second upper limit is 99. So the first upper limit of the SDP is 89 and the second upper limit of the SDP is 99. So that's how we justify our answer. That's how to get the mean, median, mode, mean, max, K, or the number of class, C, or the class width, lower limit, and upper limit.